So Team Zero Gravity, I started Team Zero Gravity in 2004. We have been the #1 competition team out here in the United States for since 2004. So we've been going on doing this a long time. I started off as a bodybuilder, competed many years myself. My wife runs the girls team, and she started off as one of my athletes that turned into a very decorated IFBB pro. She has 2 Olympias under her belt. We've been doing this for a long time, and hope to continue to do this for a long time. We have athletes all over the world. I have athletes in China, in Korea, in Brazil, in India, in Kuwait, and Iran, and all over the world. So we have a huge, diverse international team, and I'm just blessed and excited to continue to coach these guys. The best way to contact me is through email. You can go to teamzerogravityfitness@gmail.com. You can also go on our Instagram at teamzerogravityfitness and send me a DM. We'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I also have a WeChat, so if you want to find me on WeChat, and I also have WhatsApp, so you can contact me on there as well.
Many Chinese bodybuilding fans have lot of questions regarding the IFBB Pro League, and many information online cannot be found in Chinese. So to do this interview to answer some of the questions those fans have. What is IFBB Pro card?
The IFBB is the professional league, so it's the IFBB Pro League. Pro League that is the step above the MPC. So if you earn your pro card through the MPC level, you receive a pro card for the IFBB. Which allows you to compete as a professional and qualify for the Mr. Olympia.
So we realized the Olympia qualification rules has been changed again recently. So can you talk about the new rules?
Just announced, actually this last week, they just announced the change for the qualification for the men's physique Mr. Olympia. The qualification was on a point system, and what they did is this last year is the top 20 athletes with the top 20 amount of points at the end of the season by August qualified for the Mr. Olympia, along with the top 5 from the previous year at the Mr. Olympia. Pretty exciting, because the top 5 no longer re-qualify for the Olympia. So now it is only first place, only the current Mr. Olympia re-qualifies. So the other 4 of the top 5 have to compete again in that next season to re-qualify. Change was also they eliminated the top 20 in the points. So what it is now is there are every IFBB show this year, the winner of that show will qualify for the Mr. Olympia. Now that being said, there's 2 different ways, there's 2 different tiers. So there are going to be 12 shows this year that are a tier 1 show, which means that the winner of that show, those 12 shows, is going to automatically go straight to the prejudging round at the Mr. Olympia. The winners of all the remaining shows are going to get a qualification to go to a preliminary round at the Olympia. The preliminary round is basically going to happen directly right before prejudging. Take whatever number they decide they want to take from that prejudging round and put them, or from the preliminary round, and put them into the prejudging. The top 12 shows are also going to get fully they're going to get their per diem check, they're going to get their travel and their hotel and everything covered. People that win the tier 2 shows are going to have to pay their own way to the Olympia versus getting all their stuff paid for. Seeing that, I don't know how many shows there are exactly this year, but you could potentially see 60, 70 guys at the preliminary round at the Olympia, which then I think they are going to have a total number of 25 athletes on the prejudging stage. So I think that's roughly maybe 10 to 15 people that will qualify from that preliminary round to go on to the prejudge.
So which one do you prefer, the old rule or the new rule?
I actually was one of the people that really pushed for this new system. I prefer the new system, and I'll tell you why. The main reason why I like the new system is in the past year, it discouraged a lot of athletes this last year from wanting to compete. Knowing that if you win a show, you're not qualified, you may have to win 3 or 4 shows to go. And there's a lot of people, number one, who don't have the resources to do 6, 7, or 8 shows a year. And along with that, the biggest part for me, which I think was a benefit, or which was flawed with this other system, is that having to do that many shows a year is unhealthy for the athlete. Strategy right, I believe it's a healthier way to do it, and I believe the longevity in the sport is going to be a lot better, just due to the fact that the bodies aren't going to get worn out. And the other side to that I like is that if you, this past year, if you had won a show and you were one of those top 5 athletes and you win a show, you still have to do another show and another show and another show, which makes it really hard because you have the same guys winning all the shows. Now with the new system, if you have a really good athlete that wins that first show, he's going to rest, which makes room now for other athletes to go ahead and get their qualification.
Chinese IFBB Pro now. I don't know if you know
There's
that.
more what?
There are more Chinese IFBB Pros,
yes,
right, and international IFBB Pros. So do you have any suggestion for them, like if they will decide whether to compete in the States or compete in other pro shows, especially for men's physique athlete? Do you have any suggestions?
I think the best thing for these guys to do, obviously competing in your own country is amazing, but the suggestion I would say is there's a lot of international shows, not just here in the States. I believe out of the 12 Tier 1 shows, I think Brazil is one of those. I believe Tampa, I don't remember the exact list off the top of my head, but I would try to aim for some of these, maybe a couple of these international shows. That being said, the majority of the shows are here in the US, so what I would do strategy-wise, if I was an international competitor, I would pick one Tier 1 show to aim for, and then I would pick 2 or 3 backup shows, which were like the Tier 2 shows, maybe here in the States, to come compete. Right now, I think the trend is, if I've seen the last couple of shows, what's really doing well is conditioning and a small waistline. And I know a lot of the athletes from China genetically have a small waist and very good ability to be conditioned. So I think competing here in the States would be good for the Chinese athletes.
And thank you for taking the time to do this interview with us.
the only way to look good in a straight front, relaxed pose, you have to be huge. You know, you have to have such a big chest, such big lats. In order to stand, you have to have a bodybuilder size to stand, relax forward, and look good. So it eliminated a lot of guys that were not 230 pounds, you know? So I think it's better, it's gonna bring back the aesthetics of the division if we allow them to angle and just kind of highlight their best attributes.
Hide their weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, so we just finished training and now we're gonna practice some posing. We're in our posing room here at Zero Gravity. There's one more point I wanted to talk about the rule change this year. They're making a point of no longer making the athletes go straight forward. So in this last season, last couple seasons, they've been really making sure that guys are facing straight. But they're gonna do away with that, and an angled front pose is gonna be accepted now as a mandatory pose. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. If you like what you saw, we're gonna do a lot more videos together like this, hopefully giving you guys a lot of quality information. If you have any questions or anything, leave comments below.